Hello everyone, hello teachers, welcome to this fifth virtual session. Today we're going to be talking about warm-ups with our trainer, Esdras Josue Gregorio. Remember that in Teaching Help you can find more courses, lesson plans, community to share, formats, material, and information about teaching English. The topic of today is warm-ups, something that is optional for our classes but has a big benefit. Our trainer is Esdras Josue Gregorio. Welcome, Esdras.
Thank you, man. Hello, Danny, and hello, everybody.
It's nice to have you here. Esdras has academic experience as a student in the Access program, SEAL program, in the TAC course, in the ITOT certification, and he studied a licenciatura en Administración Educativa. He has also working experience. He has worked for the Access program as a teacher. He has worked as a SEAL assistant teacher. He is currently a teacher in the Prosperity English program, and he is currently teaching adults in an academy. So it's nice to have you here, Esdras. I hope that we can learn a lot from you and to apply warm-ups in our classes.
Thank you very much, and I hope that I can give you some knowledge about the warm-ups, which is something, as you said before, that can bring benefits to our students. So we're going to go over this session. The general idea of this session is that we're going to get to know what is a warm-up, why is it important, some reasons to use warm-ups, and some of our experience doing warm-ups. The goals of the session. Goal number 1, to recognize the reasons to have warm-up in class. Danny, can you help me with the goal number 2?
To recognize the characteristics of a warm-up.
And finally, to share experiences using warm-ups. Danny, what is a warm-up for you?
For me, a warm-up when teaching is the first activity you do to wake students up.
Exactly as you said, that's a warm-up. And I just want to add that is a short activity that you do before class. And I just want to let you know that it could be an English class, a mathematics class, and warm-ups are very known with physical education class because they do prepare the student before doing exercises. Now, the second question about this, why is it important? As I was mentioning you before, when we do exercise, we should warm up. Like we should prepare the body for what's coming now. Now, Danny, why do you think a warm-up is important?
Yeah, as you say, when we are about to learn something, we have to be prepared. So when we do exercise, we have to warm up. And I think it's the same when we're about to learn. Our students can be motivated since the beginning, so they can receive the knowledge in a better way.
Exactly. As you said before, there is the importance of a warm-up. Because we can prepare the student for what's coming in the lesson. And also we can promote participation, we can get their attention, and something very nice that I like about warm-up is that you can create a friendly atmosphere, and also you can create friendly feelings between you as a teacher and your students, and we are going to know why. Now let's find out why you should do a warm-up with 5 reasons. Danny, can you help me with reason number 1?
Students get to know each other.
Yes, when you do a warm-up, you can do it in various ways, in different ways. And one way of doing a warm-up is when you put your students ask each other about what they like, about their hobbies, about their interests, about their experiences. So warm-up is a great way that you can make your students get to know each other. And the nice of this is that it's short. You don't need to last the whole class in order for that. So by talking about something specifically about hobbies in your houses, hobbies in schools, they can get to know each other. Reason number 2, you get to know your students. While you're putting your students to ask each other about, let's talk about hobbies, you can go around and listen to what they like, and by that you can create this ideal class by bringing something that they are interested. And the best is when you are part of the warm-up, when you also ask your students, and they also ask you questions about hobbies, likes and dislikes, etc. So you get to know your students better. And I think that's a very beautiful idea of the warm up. And let's move to reason number 3, to wake them up. Why do you think a warm up helps to wake them up, Danny?
I think that sometimes, depending on what time of the day we are teaching our classes, students might be tired for any reason, if it's the first period of the day, or if it's the last period of the day, or if they just came from doing physical education, they might be tired. So warm-ups help when students feel tired or they just don't feel interested in the class. I think that warm-ups can help them get interested because it's not a learning moment, or they don't see it as a learning moment. They see it like a fun moment. So when students are having fun, they just like it.
Yes, and that's one of the characteristics of the warm-up, which is something that we are going to talk about later. That it should be fun. It should bring fun to the students and also some learning, even though they don't recognize that they are learning. And exactly as you said, you do a warm-up when you feel when your students are not into working, not into learning. You can do a warm-up which can bring their excitement, their mind so high that they can be very active in order to work.
Yeah.
And reason number 4. This is something that I also read it for me.
To review points talked the day before.
Exactly. This is something that I really like about these warm-ups activities, because you can review something that you were teaching the other day, and by doing a warm-up to review what you were teaching helps you recognize what are some mistakes that your students are doing with something that they are learning, but also as a way to practice what they have been learning, and mostly if it is a difficult grammar point. So you just review it, and you don't go over this idea of, okay, let's sit down, we are going to practice this because it's difficult. With the warm-up, you do it in a nice way. And it is not mandatory. Warm-up should be some movements. It shouldn't be like mostly sitting down. It could be, but ideally is that they are into moving. And the last reason, to relax the students before a quiz or a test. Danny, have you ever had as a student or as a teacher done a warm-up before a test?
I don't remember myself as a student doing a warm-up before a test, and as a teacher, neither. I have not done this before.
Yeah, so you can do it also before this kind of stressing moment for the student, and you can do it in 2 ways or more ways. One way is that you can review points from the test with the students, which is something that your students are going to appreciate. Remember that a test should not be something to go to jail. It should be something that the students show you understanding, right?
Yeah.
Their learning process. And the other way is that you can relax them. Some students tend to get very nervous before a test, so it's very stressing before a test. They need to review points, they need to not to forget this. So doing a warm-up which can help them forget they are having a test can be very helpful, because you bring the students to a place where they can feel comfortable, where they can feel that they can do it, that they know the answers, etc. And of course, there are other purposes to do a warm-up before a test. Danny, we're going to move to the next, but I want to ask you before that, what are some characteristics that a warm-up should have?
I think that a warm-up should be something fast to do. It should happen before starting the class, and it should be fun for students.
Danny, you said it exactly. Those are very principal characteristics of warm-ups. Number 1, it should be short. Ideally, or I would say that a warm-up should not be more than 15 minutes. It all depends on what is your purpose doing the warm-up. But it should not be longer than that. It should be like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And remember that it should be something like, let's do this, let's have some fun now, let's work,
Yeah.
right? It shouldn't take the whole class, the whole class time. The other, as you said before, it is recommended that it should be done at the beginning. because as we said, it is a kind of preparation. But you can also do it in the middle of the class as a way of waking them up, getting their attention, increase their motivation, etc. But if you do it at the end, then it is called a wrap up, which is a kind of ending activity to finish the class in a very nice way, in a nice motivation way, right? So if you do, yeah, exactly. So if you do it at the end, it's not a warm up. It is a wrap up.
Wrap up.
You cover everything that you were learning, right?
Okay.
Another characteristic is that helps students begin to work, because it that's the key word, preparation of the students. Prepare them to work, prepare them to learn, prepare them to speak, prepare them to mimic, prepare them to, oh my god, many actions that you can do in your English lessons. The next one, Danny, tell me the next one.
Enjoyable and interesting. It can be enjoyable and interesting and helpful.
Yes, that's very of the warm-ups. It should be enjoyable. A warm-up is not something that students are going to get stressed with. It should be something that they enjoy, something like, oh my god, this is so nice, I like this, I like to be doing this. It should be interesting. You cannot bring a warm-up about talking about their past experiences to beginner students, because they're not going to be able to do it, right? And it should be helpful. It should be helping you as a teacher and helping the students to prepare before the class. Another characteristic is that it should promote the participation of each student. Every student should be participating in the warm-up, should be doing something during the warm-up.
I agree.
Now we're going to go over an example. Just want to tell you what a warm-up is not. A warm-up is not about doing it or thinking about an activity 1 minute before the class. A warm-up is something that is planned by you as a teacher, something that you had an idea long before starting the class. Now let's go over a video in which you can see what a warm-up is. A very nice idea of a warm-up. Danny, can you please play it? Okay.
Stand up.
So, Danny, help me to mention some keys points of this short part of the video that we just saw. I'm going to start. One of the key points of this warm-up is that it didn't require a lot of instructions. You could see that the teacher didn't say, okay, I want you to do this after me. He just started. Danny, can you recognize another key point of this warm-up?
It didn't require materials to do it. It was just his hands and voice.
So our warm-up should have materials and also should not have materials. It's just according to your activity. Another key point, you can see the teacher's motivation, the teacher willing to do the activity. You have to show your student that you really want to do the activity, that you really want your students to do this kind of activity. Do you recognize another point?
He got the attention of the students before starting.
Exactly. He got the attention of the student by standing up in the middle of the class, also having some face expressions, and also using the body, which is something very important for this kind of teaching.
Also, he was participating with the students, so the students felt that teachers and students were at the same level.
Exactly. So another key point of warm-up, and also that's another characteristic I would say, is that warm-up recognizes no ages. Danny, do you think that this activity could be done with teens and with adults?
Yeah, I imagine myself teaching adults and teenagers with this activity. Maybe they will feel embarrassed or shy to do it, but at the end, I know they will have fun.
Yes, and that's a characteristic of warm up, that you can do it with any kind of level and also with any age. With teens, as you said, it can be kind of difficult at the beginning, but you as a teacher will find out which is the best way that students can come into participating. And with adults, they love doing this kind of warm up, even though we think that adults like to be sitting down, etc. But that's something that we are going to talk about at the end. So that's a nice example of a warm up, Danny. Um, how to do a warm up, and yeah, I really like the way the teacher teaches these students. So we're going to continue. So let's talk about our experience in advice. Warm up for kids and teens. As you can see in the picture, Danny, I kind of did the same activity with my students who are adults, who are over 25, 30, and even 40 years old. So this kind of activity works for any age. And I'm not sure if you can see at the end here the lady, she's laughing so much,
Yeah.
enjoying this activity. So this is a perfect picture about doing a warm up. You can do it with anybody, and of course, you have to know your students in order to find out how to do this kind of warm up, when, where, etc. So warm up for kids and teens, they work. A warm up activity can work for kids and teens. The same warm up. You just have to recognize what are the characteristics of your students. Warm up for adults. You can look for warm ups for kids, and you can make them with adults because they really love jumping, they really love running, they really love hugging each other, they love walking around, even though we might think that they like to be just learning. And I have had some comments from my students telling me that they really like, they really love these activities, because one of them told me, teacher, I love this because now that I am a mother, I will never do this in a class. So this helps me to get out of my routine.
Yeah, I have taught adults too, and warm-ups help you test and see what activities your students like. So of course, adults are more reserved. They normally don't do these things, as you say. So by doing these warm-ups, you take them out of the comfort zone, and they feel in a different environment, which is something good, because then they will remember these moments, and they will remember what they learned in those moments.
Exactly. And of course, you're going to have students who are not into these kind of fun activities. I also had one student, one adult woman, who came to me and told me, teacher, we cannot always learn by playing games or by playing these fun activities. So she was the one that liked to be sitting down and listening to the teacher. That's the way she was learning. But we have 50-50. Students that love and students that don't love at all these kind of activities.
Yeah.
Another advice is that during a warm-up, learning is not a must. Learning is something that becomes secondary during a warm-up, and remember that you just want to prepare students for the learning moment. So if you do learning in the warm-up, there's no that transaction that the students can go over, right? So you better have nice activity, nice feelings, environment before we go into this learning process. And Dani, what another advice that you could give us? My last advice would be the grouping, which the best is that you do warm-ups in groups of two, where students work in pairs. That's the best one, because if you do it in three, there will be one who is doing not much, just listening, observing, and two who are doing the stuff. So better to do it in groups of two. What other ideas come to your mind, Dani, about some of your experience?
Yeah, as you said, it's very related to the last one that you gave, grouping, because I think that warm-ups help us develop a community in our class, to develop their teamwork skills. So it would be great that our students at the beginning of the class, they can do an activity where they have to face a problem or find a solution together in groups by doing a fun activity. So that develops more a better relationship within them, and if we as teachers participate, it will be better, so we can develop rapport within our students and the teacher. So that makes the community of the class, the teamwork, their skills, their teamwork skills develop faster and in a better way.
Exactly. And you just went over all of these reasons to do a warm up, and that's very important to keep in mind with the warm up. And Danny, another advice is that a warm up is not a mandatory activity that you have to do in your classes. It's something, if you feel that it's good to do it, if you feel that no, my student, we need to work right away, you can do it, right? Warm up is not something that you have the obligation to do it. It just depends what you want with your students, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any advice, or we continue with the next?
My advice, warm-ups are part of the class, and as any other part of the class, you have to plan it. So as you said before, it's not an activity that we just take out of our mind 1 minute before we start the teaching. It has to be planned, and if we need material, to prepare the material before and to prepare the instructions. So when we are doing activity, we are not looking for the material or thinking about what instructions to give. We have it right away. The short activity of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but very well planned.
Exactly, and that's it. That's something that I think we all teachers know. Our activities, our lesson plans don't come out of our hands, and there we have it. We need to have some time to prepare it, and especially if we have material.
Yeah.
In my experience, I always like to do a warm up. I don't feel comfortable starting like right away with the lesson plan, because I always like to prepare my students for what's going on. So I always take 10 minutes for the warm up, and before I start a lesson plan. And for me, it's like kind of a mandatory thing. I don't feel comfortable at all starting with
That's your
teaching
teaching
right
style.
away. That's my teaching style.
Okay.
I always need to do a warm up. And my warm up doesn't go over doing fun activities. Also, my warm up can be asking each other questions while they are sitting down. Just a way of preparing, right? That's the key, as I said before, the keyword: prepare the student.
Prepare students.
So let's continue. So Danny, can you show us some documents that we have for the teachers here? So here you have the 5 reasons to do a warm-up, and also icebreaker. An icebreaker, as the name says, is an activity that you do to break the ice among your student, to gain your students some confidence to talk to each other, to share with each other, etc. It's a little bit related to warm-up. Here you have the 5 reasons with more explanation, and also you have some links here. Okay, let's see the links. In this, you can find icebreakers, which you can make them into warm-ups. The idea, the instruction of this is that you click on them, you read about it, and you have to think about the level that it is for, the amount of time that you can spend, and something important, the instructions, how you can deliver the instruction. If you have beginner students and you have like 2-3 minutes spending in instructions, I think that should not be your warm-up, because you are spending a lot of time in instruction. And then we have the following, which is this, warm-ups. And in here, this link, this webpage, PC Teacher, is very nice because it gives you a score of the warm-up. And something very nice, Danny, that I like about this is that it gives you the level that you could run the warm-up, which could be beginners, elementary, pre-intermediate, etc. And you have many activities. Danny, have you ever gone
Nice.
to websites to find warm-ups, or how do you find warm-ups?
Yeah, normally I like seeing these videos about a minute to win it. These are activities
those
that
are
can be done
nice
in
activities.
Paris, but you also can use them for your classes. Some of them are material that you have in your house or you can have in the classroom, but the idea is that it can be an activity that you can do with your students just to have fun at the beginning. So as you said, learning is not mandatory. So I sometimes like to repeat these activities. So for example, this one, I did it once and the student had so much fun. So if teachers, you can check these videos, a minute to win it. Those are nice ideas of activities that you can try to do in your classrooms.
Exactly. Those are very nice ideas. And remember, Danny, that as you said, it's not mandatory the learning, but if you do these kind of activities that we saw now in the video that you showed, just think about the impact of this activity. Like maybe it requires a lot of materials, maybe you have to buy them, but just think of the impact that the students are going to have with these activities. They are going to love that, and for sure they are going to come motivated to your classes. So it's always nice to have warm-ups with some materials and a lot of fun. Some final comments. Danny, tell me yours.
Well, I would say that my final comment about warm-ups is that it's a powerful tool we can use to create rapport, a better relationship with our students, and that we have to plan them.
Exactly. I also agree with what you said. And also, a warm-up should be planned, should not be
Something improvised.
yes, exactly. And maybe it could have some learning about the language, but maybe also you said the report. That's very nice when you can build relation among your students, trusting among your students, and also to you. So warm-ups are not mandatory, but they are very ideal to do before lesson plan. And let's finish, Danny, with some this using warm-up activities can be one way to bring variation in class activity and to make the students curious, focus their attention, provide them purpose and motivation. So this is a very nice paragraph telling what a warm-up is.
Okay, thank you so much, Esdras, for sharing about warm-ups. I believe that this is a very important tool if we want to bring something different to our classes, so students feel that they are in a different class. They are not in the very similar class of ours. If we do warm-ups in our classes, students will feel engaged and motivated to come to our classes.
Exactly. It shouldn't be a stressing thing. And also with these warm-ups, you can also, as a teacher, can release some stress out of you.
That's true.
So thank you very much, Danny. I really loved talking about these activities it is a must for me. I always do a warm-up before I continue a lesson plan.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Super.
And thank you, teachers, for seeing. So I hope that you can be in a next episode with us, Esdras, sharing about a different topic. Thank you for sharing with us, and thank you for participating, teachers. See you in the next one.
Thank you, and I will be glad to come again here. Thank you very much. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.